Hello everyone, this is Plunkera, and welcome to my universe. So, last time I started a picture, and it mostly has a lot of the energy that I like, but it is time to get the rest of it. Which means it is time to perfect things like perspective, proportion, and finish out the rest of the composition. I still don't know if I like that purple I'm using in the background. The color she used in the background has been very much eluding me, so we'll see if I can figure out what I actually want there or not. So right now it's like, who knows? Anyway, I want to kind of get the angle on her arm right here. And right now it is not. So... but I think I know what I want to do with it. So I'm gonna start with that, because that is the area that I am most clear on what I want to do next. I want it to be going a little bit more behind her. And right now I just don't feel like it's doing that. Man. Having trouble finding the right spot to put my tablet. You see, my setup here is, not exactly high-end, let's say. I just hold my tablet in my lap and I call it good. And, you know, overall, I'd say, yes, it works for me. I don't really need to be doing anything special. But sometimes it takes me a sec just to find the right spot for it to go in. Okay. So this is where I start drawing lots of circles. Lots of circles tends to be how I start perceiving how things go. Alright, and this also means that her shoulder is going to be more like back here. I'm using the pointy part of her puffy sleeve to kind of determine where her shoulder is. And everything's just gonna be a mess for a second. Have I mentioned that I really enjoy digital art? I'm not even sure how I do half of what I do in traditional. I like being able to just move things around and try it out. See what works and what doesn't. There will be many a pieces that I'm just trying to get into place here. I also don't feel like her head is sitting on her neck right. This is why I describe proportion and perspective as my nightmare, because it always takes me a minute to get it right. I kind of gotta flail for a little while before I'm satisfied. But I do get there eventually. Every time, I always do. Let me see. Gonna hide her collar for a second while I figure out where her shoulder should be. I might even go back to my body layer at some point. Oh, I don't have you locked. There we go. Alright, so I'm just gonna use the darker blue as a temporary placeholder while I figure everything else out. You will find that at least in my process of embracing the nonsense and just trying to get stuff down well enough that eventually I can understand it. A lot of that process involves me just picking random colors and putting them down. Just put them down, don't worry about it. Just so that this way I can get a better understanding of what it is that I'm seeing and what it is that I'm trying to do. Let's see. I kind of want to attach her neck a little bit better. Erase some of her body back there. I kind of like the twist that's going on. And actually, before I do anything more, I need to move my placeholder thumb to the bottom of her hand, because that's the direction that her hand is pointing. I before had her hand pointing upward, you know, with her thumb up, but the way she's going to be holding her fan, her thumb should definitely be pointing down. And I think that'll help me figure out the perspective on the rest of her arm here a little bit better, and the pose and all that. Her puff sleeve, it might actually make more sense for that to go to the back. Okay, let's do that. We are gonna put the puff sleeve with the clothes. Let me just make sure I get all of it here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it down here, so this way her hair kind of goes on top of this part, but behind this part. It makes sense in my head, and you know, if I decide it's wrong later, I'll just fix it again. It's fine. Don't need to worry about it. I will hide her head for a moment, though. I just kind of want to figure out the shape of the shoulder. You can see, I'm jumping around a lot. It's fine. I can do that. As much as I want. But I do think that her shoulder's doing something kind of like this. I do think that the next step in what I need to do here is figure out how her head connects to her torso. So that means neck and shoulders now. Something that I always kind of have a hard time with. I feel like I said that a lot. Sometimes I wonder how I'm able to draw anything at all, if I'm being honest. I just gotta make it work, I guess. It's fine. But art is hard, okay? Art is really hard. I'm always amazed at people that can just put something down and have it work out. Let me see if that neck attaches to her head in a way I find pleasant. Yeah, I think that's actually pretty alright. Let me put a little more neck on this side. Oh yeah, I think that's pretty alright. Yeah, I wouldn't, when I see a lot of people draw, I just see this very controlled, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do a sketch and I'm gonna get the ideas down and then I'll refine the sketch a little bit and then everything is fine. I put some line art down and I'll put some color down and look, everything is done. And I'm just like... the long pause there says it all, I think. Because, yeah, I flail. I flail so hard. I just kinda keep trying until I get something I enjoy. Okay, maybe I should draw the shoulder without the puff sleeve for now. And just to make sure that I am connecting her arm correctly. I'm just gonna erase everything here. I'm not really concerned with how it attaches below the elbow. That's not gonna be too bad. I just need to figure out where her shoulder is. So it kinda comes out here. Me turning my head away from the microphone so I can look at my arm. I'm just gonna use the clothes layer to do this. I don't think I need the body layer. I think that at this point, I have enough of her body figured out in the clothes layer that I can just do it here. It's fine. And her shoulder's gonna be kind of like this, I think. Yeah, feel kind of my... Like, I can't see it, but I can kind of feel what my body feels like, and that kind of gives me an idea of where certain parts are. Armpit's gonna be... This is still tilted weird. Let me use my mirror. I keep a little hand mirror next to my desk, so that this way I can do poses and kind of see what exactly is that I'm trying to draw. It's a little bit more effective for facial expressions than it is for what I'm doing here, but I'll make it work. I have a standing mirror behind me, but I don't want to get up. The standing mirror is a bit more effective for the part that I'm doing here. But, like I said, I don't want to get up and have to, like, push my microphone out of the way. You wouldn't be able to hear me talking. I can make it work with my hand mirror. Also, just for the record, it is incredibly normal for me to figure out what the torso looks like with the head off. I almost always work on the torso with a headless figure. I just always feel like it removes an element of complexity, and it makes my life a little bit easier. It makes it so I can understand what's going on a little bit better. That's right, this is off-center, so I think this is correct. So basically what I do is I make sure that I'm happy with the way the neck attaches to the head. And from there, I can just start putting her body together. I'm gonna go ahead and add kind of her back collar here, just so things look a little bit less strange to me. I'm probably going to clear that later, so I don't really care that I'm putting it on a hat layer. It's fine. Okay. So basically, now that I feel like I have the basic energy of the pose down and all of that, I'm actually starting to work on some of the mechanical things. Of just, okay, where is her chest? Where are her shoulders? Where do these things connect? Here, once again, I'm just gonna get rid of the puff sleeve for a moment. The puff sleeve was important for a little bit while I figured out energy, but now it's kind of getting in the way when I'm trying to figure out where her shoulders exist. But that is how I tend to work. I really just like embracing the chaos at the beginning, and then just gradually kind of smoothing it all out. Best way I can put it. Because for a long time I had really, really stiff poses, because I would worry about, okay, let's do proportions first. And make sure that, you know, the character's, what, like 7 or 8 heads tall. Make sure that I have all the parts right relative to each other. All that stuff. And I just felt like it made my poses really, really stiff. So I stopped doing it like that. And I just focused on getting the gesture of the pose down first. Put down all the elements, make sure I know how the cloth of her clothes are gonna flow and all of that. And now I'm just kind of reining it in and making sure that what I drew, that the energy of the pose makes sense. And it takes a little bit of time. It's also why, if you watch my speed paints, the ones where I only take like an hour to draw a whole picture, they tend to have a very exaggerated posing. In weird proportions. Because I don't always take the time to fix them. And if I do take the time to fix them, then they're probably... the pose is probably a lot stiffer. Now, I want this arm to be coming forward. So, let me go look at the ribbon here. I brought it over here. I'm not sure if I want this ribbon to be on top of the hair or underneath yet. I don't think it really matters for the time being. I'm actually just going to clear it. And if it's going forward, like, should be something like this. I'm going to just draw a big circle and then erase the part that's going to be behind her arm. Okay. This is another case. I was trying to draw the energy of the perspective, which is gonna have her arm kind of going like this. And then the rest of her arm up here is going to attach like this. And now, you see, suddenly it makes more sense to me. Now it looks like it's going forward. That is the power of embracing the energy. So I'll clean this up a little bit and kind of attach it to the ribbon. We're not going to worry that the fingers still look like sausages. Not important right now. Not in the slightest. I just know that there's a hand there. And at some point, I will draw the hand. But as long as I understand, that's all that really matters here. We'll get the shape of the sleeve, though. So I'm actually just gonna clear that. I took yesterday to look at some references and figure out how the sleeve should be drawn. And I think I have a pretty good idea now. So what needs to happen? Let me see. I'm gonna invert this color. Okay. This is another case. I'm just using a random color, so this way I can clearly see the difference between the front and the back. And it'll help me draw it. Always does. So anyway, and all I did there was I hit Control-I on the keyboard, inverted the color. It makes it very easy to switch back so I don't have to keep track of more colors. Anyway, as I was saying, what I wanted to do is I want to make it look really tight up kind of against her hand. And for that, I want actually kind of a straight edge there. It's gonna look a little strange until I draw the other half. And that is why I wanted this to be a different color. And then, from here, where it's kind of getting caught, I want to have it wiggle. So it's gonna be more like this shape. And I think this will capture the feeling that I'm going for better. Especially once it is kind of properly shaped, and then I can get the wave that needs to exist in here. I want a little wave, like right there. And then it's gonna come out, it's gonna attach down here, it's gonna do something like this. And I want it to open a little bit more at the bottom. Yeah, there we go. Got a wave right here. There we go. Sleeve energy. Just gonna draw in the rest of the back parts there. I'm just gonna leave it pretty messy for now. I don't think it needs to be neat. We'll go ahead and invert this back though. And then I want to put just a little bit of shading where this kind of some of the floppier parts are. It's gonna do something like this basically. And I think that is sufficient for the time being. We'll put the trim back on, though. It goes around. We're gonna see side of her wrist here, or the side of the sleeve. And it's just gonna go around, and I'll worry about the backside later. There we go. That's fine for now. I think it better illustrates what I'm going for than what I had before, so this is perfect. The next step will just be to make it look a little bit less, I don't know, thick, and I still don't feel like it's opening quite as much as I want it to. That's a job for the trim. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of push it around a little bit until I get the amount of open that I want. Because you see, since it's coming towards us, we should see quite a lot of the inside of the sleeve here. Let me go ahead and adjust my temp hand. Sufficient. Sufficient for now. We'll give her a real hand in a while. But I do think that kind of illustrates what I want for this pose. Okay, let's attach her back shoulder here. I clicked the wrong layer. There we go. So let's get this arm now. This arm is gonna go back. And once again, I don't like the ribbon here. So I'm gonna clear it, and then I'm just gonna draw big circles to show the energy of where I want this. So it's kind of gonna... Let me double check where those little ribbons on her sleeve are. They're also much thinner than what I'm drawing right now, but that's okay. I'll fix that in a little while. Okay, so it's gonna be something like... They're just like, just above her elbow. So I think that'll be like right here. And I'll just scale it properly. So something like this. Gotta go ahead and make this guy just a touch thinner. Actually, I think her elbow is going to be a little bit closer here. So I'll do that, and we're going to make this bigger. It's going to look weird for a little while, but trust me. I'm going to make it work. I want that to come forward. There we go. Yeah. And then this back one, I really want to go back. So what I'm going to do for that is we're going to make it nice and small. I actually think I want this a little further up. Her elbow is going to be like there. And if anything, I don't think I made that curve sharp enough. It's gonna go so far back, man. It's gonna go so far back. Okay, yeah, I think that looks better. And eventually there's gonna be like little frilly pieces on there that I think will also help sell the perspective, but I don't want to draw them yet. I don't like adding those kinds of details too early, because I always end up spending a bunch of time on them and then just having to erase it all. And that's sad. When I was but a wee artist, I would spend a lot of time doing those things and then just end up changing them completely. And I think it slowed me down quite a lot. Just gonna use shadow color for this arm here. Might actually see the hand a little bit. Just how far this is gonna go back. Gonna make it ultra thin. Trust me, it'll work. I'll go ahead and put a hand in. I'm gonna put you guys into a group just so I can hide the foreground all at once without having to click away, or click 2 layers. That is just too much work. Anyway, we'll put a hand here just so I can picture this. But yeah, there we go. I think that's doing what I want now. And in a similar impression, I kind of want her dress to be going forward too, so I can't draw a big circle for this one, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I'm gonna flip her to the background just so I can see her entire dress, and we're gonna make it kind of move a little bit more like this. That is the best way I can describe it. I'm just using this as a guideline. We're gonna erase everything here. Trim too. underskirt, too. And where's the body? Because we're gonna erase that too. Just erasing everything. There we go. So now her dress is gonna do something like this. Gonna drop the opacity, just... I want to be able to see it, but I want to be able to see through it. Okay. So this part's gonna come up, then we're gonna go down. Kind of attached to here. The reason that I can do this is because I understand the energy of the pose that I was going for. Let me see. I also want to do something with that ribbon. I'm basically debating... Are we seeing her from, like, right in front of her, slightly above her, or slightly below her? And based on how I'm doing the hand, I think we're seeing her from slightly above her. So I want this big ol' ribbon to do this. It'll give the impression that we're, like, standing somewhere over here. Our eyes are seeing up here, so we'll see a little bit more of her head. It's only a slight incline. Go ahead and attach her head here. It gives me an excuse to let her head be a little bit larger than it otherwise would be. So since we're seeing her from a little bit above, that means her neck is going to seem a little bit short. And her eyes... they're gonna do something a little bit more like this. Just kind of lowering the corners, and then I'm gonna raise the center just a little. And then her face, I think, is mostly fine. I'm just gonna rotate it a little. Gotta bring it up here. And this should look fine once I actually get around to fixing her jawline, which, with any luck, will be soon. And then we should see a little bit more of the top of her hat. Just go ahead and liquefy the whole thing. No, liquefy. There we go. And it should point downward. If I do it like this, it should start looking like it's wrapping around her head. Okay, and like I said, we're not worried about her head just yet. I just want to get the body looking proportionate with itself, and then I will attach the head properly. If I worry about proportion too hard, like I said, I'm gonna lose the energy, and the pose will look stiff, and I will be sad. Why does it keep teleporting me to the circle? I know I definitely did not click on the circle there, because it was not even on screen. That happens to me sometimes, and I find it very mysterious. Anyway, her back is not in the same place as it was when I first started drawing this, so I think I'm actually gonna move the ribbon. And we're gonna put this behind her body now. So, like, down here, and you are gonna be ribbon... Whoa. And I want you a little further back, because you are going to represent kind of where her back is. I think it's something like right there. Okay, now I can go back to feeling out the perspective here. And like I said, we're just ever so slightly above her, so it's not going to be a super extreme perspective like what I have with her arms here. Like, this is pretty extreme. But I just want things to be a little curvier. I've said before that circles are great. Circles are fantastic. They will make your art feel so nice. Love your circles. Always. Okay. And on the clothes, I want to clear all these shadows. The shadows will come back someday. They'll be there, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna throw in some shadow shapes so that this way I can kind of comprehend what's going on here. Because a lot of how I see what is happening has to do with light. I understand light better than I do lines, which is why I draw like this. That is why I must embrace chaos and just love the nonsense. So with that, I can kind of feel the folds in her clothes. Okay, and then this part is just from the dress flipping upward a little bit, and I don't like the angle that it's flipping, so I will adjust it. Just had to think about it for a second. Because I forgot what I was doing, and that happens more than I like to admit. But yes, I think I would like it to flip like this. And there is no trim on the bottom of her dress, so we just let it flip. And then I will put, I guess, a dark area there makes more sense. Do this. And this just comes off and stops. At some point, this will make sense in my brain. Let me just draw the backside. That will help it make sense. This is why I tend to accumulate a lot of these kind of back layers, because they help me make sense of the world. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and I think at this point I can get rid of my guideline. Don't really need it anymore. Because now I understand what's going on here. And I think on this layer I will put a dark part where this falls to. Just so I can see it a little bit better. Okay, and now I can turn this layer back on. This is... she has this kind of white underskirt here. I have shadow colors for you, right? On, like, the collar of her shirt. Might need to make it a little bit darker. We'll see. But for now, I can just stick with this color. This is fine. And the material on this doesn't look quite as floppy or floofy, so I'm gonna keep it pretty straightforward. And I don't know where her legs are supposed to be, but you know what? Don't worry about it, because all I'm gonna do is clip it back here, and voila! Legs are not a problem. She has legs around there somewhere. It's not important. I'm sure this is exactly why a lot of people have less trouble with proportion, perspective, and all that stuff that I have issues with. If they're just like, oh yes, and her legs go here. And I draw them. And look how nice it is. And I should probably do these things, but I don't, so it's okay. It might make my life a little bit easier in some circumstances, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm trying to figure out where her chest is. We have an armpit here. So that should mean that her chest is doing something like this, right? Other armpits like on this side. Probably around here. It's like the point here isn't to necessarily draw her breasts, it's just I gotta understand where things are. It's very important. Okay, and this is pretty thin. And in fact, I don't actually think we should see the edge there. I think it should just kind of come off to the side here, because it doesn't connect to the ribbon in the very center of her body. It goes offside. Or off to one side. So the center of her body, I'm gonna hide the trim for a second, is like here. Navel's probably about there. I'm gonna have to adjust that ribbon more. That's why I didn't spend too long trying to get it right. Just wanted the basic gist. I feel like her chest might be a little bit low there. Let's hide the ribbon for a second. So I can kind of see where everything should connect with her waist. So if we have like her navel right there, and that should mean that all of this is, let me see, her leg should meet about here. We have something like that, curving this way. And then we should have like shoulders over here. And it kind of goes across here. And we have a rib cage kind of doing this sort of thing. Something like that, and I mean, naturally all this is going to be erased at some point. I just need to understand. I always tend to make the top part of of my character's torsos a little bit long. I think I'm doing that again here. So I think I probably want her clothes come a little bit further up here. Yeah, I think that's a bit better, which would mean that this is probably more like this. Just trying to figure out the shape of her chest. I have twisted her body again. I guess that's fine. I guess it's fine. Oh, man. At some point, I really should do studies of this area because, man, do I always have to flail a bit before I get it right. Alright, let's try to put her collar back on her. I'm gonna go ahead and hide the front part of her arm here. And I am just gonna try to make sense of her shoulders and where this fluffy collar should go. I think I actually worked pretty hard trying to get this right last time, but I don't think it's right. So... Does it connect in the middle? Kinda. So it kinda comes out. Kinda like this. I'm using the shadow color. I don't want to be using the shadow color. Let's try again. Yeah, it's gonna kinda come out like this. This side is gonna come up onto her shoulder. How far onto her shoulder does it go? Like, not at all. It's actually pretty small. I made it a bit too large. Proportion does not necessarily mean just for body parts. I do have a tendency to draw things a little bit too large. Let's just do something like this for it. I think this works. And then this one will just kind of come over here. Okay, there we go. I think that looks better. And I think it looks more like her actual collar. Put a little back part here, where it'll wrap around the neck. And then the center part, yeah, just over here like that. Gotta give it a little wiggle. There we go. Just a tiny little fold there, and then I will put in the shadow parts. And at some point I'll put in the rest of the decorations, but they're not important yet, so I'm not gonna. Oh, I didn't actually realize that I drew the back part of this. That shouldn't be there. Alright, I'm gonna turn her arm back on, because I do want her whole body to be here. And I think it's gonna be time to attach her head soon. I still feel like she's a little thick in the middle, though. just relative to her arms here. Yeah, there we go. That's better. I will go ahead and kind of get the colors more like how they're going to be in the final version here. That should also help me see what's going on just a little bit better. And a little bit more curvature around her hips. You locked, you are. Not gonna worry about folds in her clothes or anything, beyond just what I need to draw in order to understand what's going on. None of that's really important right now. And I feel like she has a bit too much boob going on here. Touhou's not known for having large breasts, so let's flatten that out just a bit here. There we go. I think that's starting to look pretty good. Starting to control some of the chaos. It takes a little while, but I get there every time. Every time. So I'll just keep shaping this until I'm satisfied. And I can already tell that relative to her head, this is going to be way too small. But that's okay. I will adjust the size of the head, and then basically the steps I'm going to take here. I'm getting the proportions of the body right. Then I'm going to put her head on and focus on getting the various parts of her head looking right, like making sure that her eyes are the right size, her mouth is the right size, and I'm not worried about the nose. It's probably just going to be a dot. So I don't think I'm going to draw a full nose for this one. And then after that, once all of her facial features are good relative to each other, I'm going to make sure that the head and the body are good size relative to each other. And then from there, I'm going to make sure that she's the size that I want her to be on the picture itself. So, relative to this big circle. And that's just how it's gonna work. One step at a time. I have found that kind of thing works for me, rather than trying to get all the proportions right all at once. Let me see. Is her chest area a little bit low or a little bit high? Maybe a little. But okay, I think that's all right. Let's go ahead and attach her ribbons again. Like this part's a bit off center, so I think that is correct. And then I will reattach the trim. This part I think I can just mostly erase. Where does it? A little bit on the other side here, so it'll come off the side. It will not actually touch the ribbon. So yeah, it starts at about the center of her collar here. So something like this. And then we'll tuck into the ribbon around her waist. Actually, that's pretty high up in her waist. It's not actually on it. Probably more like under her bust. It'll attach there. About the same point that this does. So I probably want it doing something like this. There we go. And I think this shows the twist in her body pretty well. I don't think I want to draw the frilly things on her arms yet. I think this is fine for the time being. Alright, let's give her a head. I'm actually going to turn on the foreground again. Let's give her a head. Man! You can see I changed the size quite a lot. So her head is like super massive now. But I actually think her facial features are positioned pretty alright. So let's just go ahead and get this to be the right size here. It's got to be a little bit large relative to her body, just due to the kind of perspective I'm going for. But not nearly that big. I might need to make her torso a little bit thicker, honestly. Yeah, let's do that. We're just gonna take the whole thing, and I'm just gonna pull this side out just a touch here. I think her shoulders are okay. It's just right through the middle here. She was a little bit thin. Now I actually feel like her chest area is a little bit low, so I'll push that up. And I think her ribbon is also a little bit low, so I'll bring that up too. The ribbon should be like right about here. Which means that this is, you know, these things are kind of all in the wrong place, but that's alright. Some of these things I can't quite pick out until the head is on. But I at least try to get things relatively correct before I attach the head again. And I attach the head, and I make the rest of the changes that I think are necessary. Alright, now let's get bits of trim in good spots. Gonna focus on this lower one first. Okay, and now I can do the one around her chest. There we go. Alright, I think this is looking okay. Let's make her a bit larger on the picture. Okay, and I think that about covers a bunch of that. I definitely want to sleep on it before I do too much more with her body, but I think I can do a little bit with her face today. So let's jump in to her face. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn off her hat and hair for now. And I'm just gonna focus on getting like her jaw shape and all that good stuff. Stop teleporting me to the circle. It's very rude. Okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and focus on getting her jaw shape and shape of her head. All looking right now. That is the next step. Fortunately, I actually kind of like the way her eyes look. I mean, they don't match yet, but that's fine. I think they're in pretty decent spots. I might actually, like, turn it a little bit more this way. Yeah. Or is it more like this? Let me think about this for a second. If I put her head in a box, just from the direction that we're seeing, yes, this eye I think should be a little bit lower than this eye. So I think this is right. Like I just want it like that. Yep, so this should work out. So now I'll just get the shape of her head here. Make it nice and round. I think a nice round face suits the character pretty well. And where is her ear? I'm not actually sure if I'm going to draw an ear or not, but I should know where it is. I think it's probably something like right here. Something like that. And like obviously this is not right, but it's okay. It'll help me figure out where her jaw should end. A lot of this will be covered up, but it will help me draw the initial shape and help me place her features a little bit more correctly and all that good stuff. So I like to be generally aware of what's underneath her hair. I think this is fine for now. Let's go ahead and make these eyelashes look nice. Take another look at how they're shaped. Not that they're ever exactly consistent across artwork, but it's fine. Okay, I think it's gonna be something like this. Like I said, it's a little inconsistent across the artwork, but I think I can get something that will at least look like her. No. Too round there. She definitely needs a little bit flat. Like a little bit sleepy. Little bit sleepy. And then I want a pretty straight drop here, so that'll actually be kind of at like this angle. Give her a cute little eyelash because I think it's cute and I like drawing my eyelashes like that. Drop this corner just a touch. There we go. A little bit lower. Just a little bit. And I'll go ahead and put in the side. Like I said, it's gonna be relatively straight. I don't think I need to rotate the canvas or anything. And are we flat at the bottom or curved? Unclear, but I think flat works, so I'm gonna go with it. Can also make her just look a little bit happy. So have the lower part of her eyelash going up a little bit. Just to make it look like she's smiling. I haven't drawn a lot of the expression yet. That's fine. It's gonna be a pretty subtle one. I guess I should probably draw it. Let me... Yeah, I kind of want to get the gist of the other eye before I start going deep into the expression, actually. Why are you putting me in the circle? Why do you keep doing that, Krita? If I wanted to go in the circle, I would click on that layer, not the eyelash layer. Don't tell me what to do. So now I just kind of repeat that. Goes across, and then we kind of go down sharply over here. Might need to move this eye to the side a little bit, but I'll do that in a second. Let me just kind of get the gist of it in there. That's long. Like, correct idea. I just need to make it a little bit shorter. And I'm just kind of going back and forth and looking at what I did at the particular part over there. And kind of imitating it on this side. I should be able to get it pretty close. Like, yes, her eyelash is going off her face. That's fine. Don't worry about it. I actually do it a lot in my drawings. Because I just like making the eyelashes super fluffy. It makes me happy. I think this is curved to the side a bit too much. Okay. That is probably close enough for now. Yeah, I can tell they're supposed to be the same eyes. They're not perfect. I will definitely need to clean them up a little bit more at some point, but I think it's good for now. I can go ahead and just go in and focus on her face a little bit. I think I want her nose to be about here. Maybe a little lower. Clean up some of my guidelines here. I don't really need them anymore. I actually do think I want her eyes to be a little bit lower on her face, though. It'll make her look a little bit cuter. The shape, or rather the color of her mouth here is going to be different once I'm done, but I'll go ahead and kind of sketch in the general shape here. Just a little smile. Little happy smile. Okay, and that her chin seems a little bit big to me still. I think I'm gonna lower everything down just a little bit more, which also means that her ear isn't actually in the right place anymore. Let's go ahead and flop all this just a little bit further down her face. Probably out like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about right. Alright, let's turn her hair back on. And her hat. I think I want her hat to be a little bit lower on her head now. To match up with where her eyes are. And I think that her longer hair there is okay, but I do want her bangs to come down just a touch here. Match up with where her eyes are now. Alright, let's give her some eyebrows. For that, I will want to hide the hair once more. And I guess the hat too. I'll use this dark color for now. I might change their color later. There we go. That is fine. The joy of all this is that I can change my mind as many times as I want. Alright, I want to get some of this hair out of her face. I do want it to kind of go across her face a little bit, but this was a little bit too much. That's alright. The start really is just getting some ideas. She has thicker bangs than this. I will draw them a little bit later. I'm not worried about it just yet. I just want a little bit of hair going into her face. Where it won't interfere with seeing her expression. Yeah, something like that. This is fine for now. Let's go ahead and fill in the side here. I'm not sure if this is doing what I want anymore. Her face is quite large. Her eyes still seem a bit big. So now it is time to start sizing things. All correctly. Let me hide her hair and hat again. And we will flip the canvas. So that this way I can kinda... Basically, flipping the canvas gives me a little bit of a new perspective on what the picture looks like. So that hopefully I can find all of my silly proportion problems. And I assure you that there will be many. There's a reason that I say proportions are my nightmare. There we go. There we go. Always takes me a few tries to get it right. Always, always. And that's why I am not worried about making things look nice yet. If I did that, I would just have to redo things all the time, and it would waste so much time. I kind of want to make her face look a little bit puffy and round. I think it suits the style of Touhou very well. Alright, we'll just leave the nose as a little dot for now. Possibly forever? And I'll just continue to tuck things around until I'm satisfied. This is why I like to put all her facial features on separate layers, because then I can just feel my way through, move things around, and get them to where I want them to go. And I think this works. I want to put her hat on her head before I go ahead and do any further shenanigans with hair. I must accidentally be hitting a keyboard shortcut or something, because man, do I keep teleporting back down to the bottom layer too often. Okay, so you know how I said earlier that I thought that her hat maybe should be shaped like this? I think I changed my mind. Just due to the angle of her head, I think it should still be shaped like this, even though we're kind of looking at her from above. I just don't think it quite makes sense. So let's go ahead and start trying to get a hat on her. I will worry about making it fluffy later. I'm just trying to get the shape of her head on there. Where does her hat go to? Oh, it is quite floppy and large on her head, it looks like. Okay. So I want to get the general shape first. And then I will try to size it. So, let's see, with her spinning a little bit, we'll probably see a little bit coming off this way. And this side will be a little bit... Let me see, which direction is she spinning? Yeah, this side will have a little bit more waving off. That'll be kind of like that. And then there's, you know, it'll come back here. So now it should be easy to add all the little frilly parts. I'm going to do with the dark color, just so this way I can see a little bit better. There we go. And then it'll tuck in like right about here. And there will be light parts up on top and dark parts through here on the longer parts. And later I will make all this look nice. I'm not even sure if I made those frills big enough, if I'm being honest. I don't think I like them. I probably should have drawn them on a separate layer. I will do that next time. Okay. Let's try that again. I've never been super good at drawing frills, unfortunately. You would think that with as often as I do draw them, that I would have figured it out, but alas. Okay, so I think we're going to be seeing kind of the top of them. Are we? Or is her head tilted back enough? Ah, perspective. I always do have a little bit of trouble with it. Okay, I don't feel like thinking about the hat right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw some hair. Hair is a bit more free. Alright, I'm gonna keep what I have, but I'm just gonna fill in her head here. And once again, I kind of want it to follow the shape of the head that I already drew. Because I think that this is mostly correct. We will let it come off a little bit, though. Just because that'll make it look nice and fluffy. we will give her hat later. So Yuyuko's hair is kind of wavy. It's like I wouldn't call it curly, but it's not exactly straight either. It's just kind of wavy. I will draw some of these free strands later. I just kind of want to... Let me hide her arm here as well, just so that this way I can see the way it's moving a little bit. Oh, sneeze. Oh man, managed to hold it just long enough to reach the mute button. That was hard. It's hard to reach the mute button when your eyes are wanting to close because you're trying to sneeze. So once again, the shape of her bangs and stuff is super duper inconsistent across various artworks, so I'ma just draw what works here while I pay some amount of attention to it. Largely means that I can draw what I want, but I always find it a little bit hard to draw the stuff properly without a nice solid reference. So I actually like having more clearly defined bangs and stuff. I actually find it easier to draw when I know what shapes I'm going for. I will do my best just to get something a little bit wavy. I don't want to over-define it at this stage, just because I get the feeling that things are going to change a lot still. Like, even when I look at this, I feel like that her cheek is puffing out too much over here. And that her jaw, not quite in the right spot. I will probably change the shape of her jawline a lot. Just because, for whatever reason, I always struggle a little bit with that. Art is hard. That's all there is to it. Art is just hard. So I'm gonna try to put a little bit more waviness into some of these strands. I don't think her bangs look very good yet. Right now it just looks like she has wet hair and I don't really like it. It'll probably look better once I put some shadows in, so you know what? Well, let's add in a few. Just so hopefully it can stop bothering me quite so much. So right now I'm kind of mostly referencing her immaterial and missing power sprite. And this is kind of what her hair looks like there. A little bit more clumpy in certain areas, and I feel like I'm trying to have it blow this, you know, this direction a little bit to the right. I don't think what I'm doing is working, though. Just kind of gotta feel my way through, as always. Okay, it's looking a little bit fuller now. Okay, I think something like that's good to start with. I still don't quite know how I feel about it, but it is a starting point. And I will definitely have to draw the hat without the hair. I'm still not quite sure how that's going to work out. I don't think my brain is ready to do hat stuff yet, so she won't have a hat for a little bit. I will try to get it on quickly, just so that we don't accidentally kill the Touhou for drawing her without a hat. This is basically why I started dividing up my layers a little bit more finely, just so that this way I could change things very easily without much effort. And it would help me get my proportions and stuff right. Still feel like her eyes are a little bit big. And I group them in certain ways so this way I can easily change like the whole thing all at once and all that. It just makes my life a little bit easier. There are certain parts where I'm still not quite sure how I feel about them. That's alright. I will slowly but surely get through all those parts and just fix it up. Okay, but so far so good, I think. I think I've gotten most of her proportions correct. Most of them. And I think that a lot of the energy is pretty good. I like what I did with her skirt today. I think it's all looking much better. The pose is basically what I want it to be, except she's going to be holding a fan, not having her hand outstretched there. The outstretched hand is just because it's easier to draw. Yeah, it just makes for a quick placeholder until I'm ready to draw her holding the fan proper. So I guess I spend a little bit of time cleaning some stuff up, getting it kind of the way I want, and I'll probably have to stop to the day just because I need some time to check on the proportions and make sure that they are all making sense. And then at some point, I'm gonna need to figure out how I want to shade this. Like, I like the colors that I picked so far. I think that they're looking good. But if you look at the header on my YouTube channel, that is the kind of style that I'm going for here. So there's gonna be a lot of different colors. Lots and lots of different colors. And I need to figure out how I'm gonna do that. And this time I actually need to figure out how I'm gonna shade hair, because, I mean, naturally when I'm drawing myself, I don't draw proper hair. My hair is basically just shiny lights. My character here is gonna have actual hair. It'll be great, but I do need to figure out how to draw hair in this style still. I haven't done it yet. Okay, yeah, I think her eyes are starting to look pretty cute. I don't want to completely eliminate the energy in her hair, but I need to tone it back just so I can get some of the initial shapes right. Just so I can get some of those shapes right. She still looks very weird without her hat, in my opinion. But it's okay. I think getting the hat is probably going to be my priority for next time. But right now, I'm just trying to get these last few things down here. It's kind of funny that I'm making the head bigger, considering how much smaller I had to make it at the beginning. But yeah, once I actually refined the shape of her jaw, it ended up making her head a lot smaller. And I'll need to figure out what I want to do about her hair in this arm and all that stuff. Because I don't know yet. I don't know how that's going to work out. I will figure that out someday. See, it just goes to show that I definitely do not have all the answers right at the beginning. I rarely even have like 10% of them. I just gotta roll with it. It's a good way to be, in my opinion. So I'll just do the last couple of, like, proportional changes that I want to make here, and after that, I think that I will probably end up stopping. But I'm just gonna fix every little problem I see. I'm gonna keep this sleeve just the shape of her arm for now, and I will... yeah, I will make it a proper puffy sleeve a little bit later. You can see that I haven't drawn the puffy bits on her shoulders just yet. I liked having them while I was still trying to figure out how I was going to draw all this. A little while back, I liked having them there. Just because it kind of helped me see certain things, but now that I'm worried about proportions, having all her clothes not being the same shape as her body, I felt like was actually hindering me a bit, so... Not sure if that's quite the right shape yet. Let's do some perspective here. I do like the perspective transform quite a lot. I get so much use out of it. Some of what I do with it looks a little bit ridiculous until I kinda start fixing it up, but it does help me quite a lot. Like right now, there's a lot of absurdity going on here. But it's alright, it's helping me understand. Like, I'm sure for a while there it didn't look like it was, but there we go. That's kind of what I wanted. The hand might be a little bit small, but that is the gist. I just wanted to make it look like her arm is going really, really far back. Just all the way into the background. Or this arm is going really far forward, this one's going really far back. I always like doing stuff like that. I think it's cool. I have quite a good time with it all. I actually decided I wanted to make this one a little bit bigger, even. Okay, so she's missing a hat. I don't want to put it back on yet because I don't feel like doodling out the rest right now. But I think this is where I will stop for today. She's starting to look like herself. And I think things are roughly shaped the way that I want them to. We'll see how I feel about it Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. So, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.